This week on Wine Women Life.
We need to take, anxiety seriously. We need to take depression seriously. We need to take PTSD seriously. Postpartum, it needs to be taken seriously.
Oh my God, I'm about to cry.
Because you're past that. You're a better woman. Welcome to Wine, Women in Life. I'm Ariel.
I'm Christina.
And today we're going to talk about mental health and instability.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we have a lot to talk about. So let's just get right into it.
Since we're a podcast about women, of course we're going to talk about women first, right?
Absolutely. I have my own experiences when it comes to mental health. I know I've gone through some things with anxiety, especially with my job. Oh my goodness.
What kind of job? What do you do?
Legal assistant. Legal,
okay.
And it's rough. I work 8 hours a day. We're not allowed to work overtime, so I have to cram everything into these 8 hours. And I work for 5 attorneys, so it's really, really difficult trying to cater to everybody in a timely fashion. I found myself having heart palpitations while I'm working, getting stressed out, not being able to sleep. And it's just been hard trying to have that time to myself because I do so much outside of my job as well. So there were times where I just felt like I was going crazy. Like literally, I needed to just stop. And also another thing is I wouldn't take breaks. And I think that it is so important for us to just stop, take a break and breathe and or exercise or do something, especially when you have a stressful job like that, because stress can kill a person.
Yes, it can.
It can lead to people being in the hospital. My mom went through that. She was in the hospital for a while some years ago due to stress from her job. So that's no joke.
It's funny to me because a lot of the times in the Black community, especially, you hear, oh, just put your chin up. It'll be all right. Or my end, pray on it, girl, give it to God.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially for Black women, we're expected to be so strong.
Yeah.
And it's a cliche because, we got to be the backbone. And it truly is the backbone to our family. Like we're the people, we're the person that holds everything together. The household, and then we got to be strong, strong enough to deal with the outside world, raise our children. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And not only, and also if you're a wife also, it's so much mentally that a person can take that we have to acknowledge that we need mental breaks.
Yeah.
We need to take, anxiety seriously. We need to take depression seriously. We need to take PTSD seriously. Postpartum, it needs to be taken seriously. It can't be overlooked as how it's been because nowadays we have a lot of people taking their lives, especially African Americans.
Oh.
So I'll just speak on like me being a mom and a wife. It is hard. I mean, there's some times where I have a child that has chronic asthma. So I got, I'm waking up in the middle of the night with him, helping him with, his breathing treatments. And then there's a toddler in my household and her sleeping pattern is whatever she want to do is what she wants to do.
Yeah.
And then it's on top of working. I don't have a lot of time for myself. Like I don't have a lot of time to squeeze in to go get my nails done or go hang out with my friends or, to be honest, to even get dressed in the morning. Yeah. Because I'm rushing. I'm trying to make sure I got 3 kids like, hey, the boys, brush your hair. I got a daughter. I'm trying to put her bows on and, redo some ponytails really quick before she heads off to daycare. And I'm running out the house, one eyelash on, one earring. It's a lot.
It's a lot, right? So have you found a way or a remedy for all of that?
I would say no.
Okay.
And that's only because I feel like I have so much to do. I can't stop. I have to get the clothes washed so I can have their clothes laid out for the week. I have to, sweep the floor, mop the floor. And I like it to look a certain way because I just like my house to look a certain way.
Yep.
Even, Monday through Friday, my children have school. So there is homework that needs to be done. Right now we have virtual also. They're in person and they're virtual at the same time. So I'm like, hey, make sure your Chromebooks are charged so you can take it to school. It's just so much. And I don't realize it. And so I lay in the bed and I'm like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And it's not even like my body wise that's tired because I'm only 31. So I'm able to move and groove, honey. But mentally, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
You made a very good point about mental health within the Black community, because a lot of us go through things and we don't talk about it. We don't seek out help for it. So I want to go deeper into that. We talked about as women what we go through, but then men, they go through things too. They don't talk about it.
That's true. Because, and it sucks because a lot of the men, you're weak if you cry. You're, people have called them names if they think that they're, vulnerable. And it's sad because men should be able to be vulnerable. They should be able to, if you got to cry, cry it out. If you need a moment, speak on it. But a lot of men hold so much in. And it's not even just because they're providers, and they have to deal with us. And they have to deal with the children. I mean, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. And it takes a woman to look outside of herself and just look outside of everything that we got going on to also acknowledge the men in our life and be like, okay, you need a break too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they deal with a lot on a different level than women, especially being a Black man right now in America.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not good for anyone to hold anything in. And like you said, men in general, they feel like, well, it's society. I blame society.
Society, yes. They're like, oh, you weak.
You weak. You not a man. You
a punk.
You exactly. And that's what they're taught from childhood. And they're not taught to release those feelings, to release whatever it is that's inside of them. Because whatever it is, because each of us has something going on within ourselves. But if we're not releasing that, it's going to eat away at us eventually.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's generational curses that's passed down from grandmother to great mother to kids, fathers. It just trickles down. It's like a lot of us have so many loads that we carry and we don't know it. A lot of people do it unknowingly, but they put that onto their children and their children carry it onto their children. Yeah. People do not understand, just like systematic racism, that is carried. It's generational. You teach your kids certain things, they go and they teach their kids certain things. Yeah. So we got to break the cycle. Like I know me and you have talked about, we both have a therapist. And he's a Black therapist. Yes. Which is so important because I know when I found him, it was funny because I was going through Google and I'm looking it up and I'm like, African Americans. Because and not only because because I'm Black, but because
Right.
a lot of we need people that we can relate to.
Exactly.
And it's just important because a lot of things that our Caucasian partners, they won't understand because they can't understand. Just as us, it's a lot of things that they go through and we can't understand.
Because I've been in interracial relationships, and then I've been in a relationship with Black men as well. And there is a difference. Black, and I love all races, by the way. So I date everybody. But there is a slight difference when it comes to the race aspect, because like a Black male will know, they can relate. They know what we as a Black race go through and how it affects our mental. I don't necessarily talk about it to people all the time. Plus, my friends, they're a mixture too. And sometimes it's hard to talk about it with them,
Right.
So yeah, there is definitely a difference versus those who are outside of my race. They don't quite understand.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important for people outside of the Black community to try to at least empathize with what we go through, because it touches all of us in different ways. It can put
and
us,
it's not as called just saying wolf, like it affects us.
it does. It really does. It could put us into deep depression. It can give us anxiety, all type of things. Or if we experience racism firsthand, and I know at some point we all have experienced something at some point of our life, whether it's being called the N-word or not given a job because of the color of our skin. I know that's happened to me. That has made me sad. Like literally, I have sat here and cried about things like that. So it's just so important to address these issues within our community, and for people outside of it to realize, to at least try to understand what's happening with us.
Right. That's true. Because even if you don't fully understand, you can empathize,
Right. Exactly.
Let's hit on postpartum. We all need to be knowledgeable about that situation, because even if you don't have kids yourself, you may have an aunt or a sister or a cousin, some family member that has went through postpartum. And a lot of people do not understand that it's real. It's not just, that person being angry. It's not that person just, oh, why are you crying all the time? It's not just hormones. Like, it's seriously an imbalance that happens after pregnancy. I experienced postpartum depression with my second child.
Okay.
And I wasn't even aware of what was going on. I'm like, what's wrong with me? And my experience was that I couldn't bond with him. And I used to cry and cry and cry because I'm like, okay, he had colic. And I didn't understand he had colic. I'm like, why he crying all the time? So in return, I would cry with him. He cried and I'm like, look, what am I doing? And my first child, I didn't have that. But it got to a point where I couldn't hold him. I would just put him to the side of the bed and make sure he was comfortable. And I would just look at him. And I didn't know. I had no knowledge that meanwhile, I'm thinking something's wrong with me, but I'm not knowing that I was going through postpartum depression. I couldn't really bond with my child. And I think it was like when he got to about 7 or 8 months that things started to switch up. Also, right after I had him, my relationship with his dad started to go downhill. So that didn't help out. And it's a lot. Like, I was pregnant. I was trying to, I had taken maternity leave. So during that maternity leave, of course, I'm not making money. I had bills to pay. And it was a really, really, really stressful time for me. And I don't even think the people around me, because I didn't speak on it, I'm the type of person where I keep everything privately. I'm trying to deal with everything. And it was something wrong with me. And now I can say I had postpartum. Because I was not able to bond with my child.
Wow. And how long? Do you remember how long you went through the postpartum depression?
I think until I really think it when he got, I would have to say, well, we ended up moving out of that house that I was in, and my dad stepped in and helped me out a lot. Um, so he had to be about 7 or 8 months, and I got a job. I got a car. Like things started shifting for me, and that's when I started to shift. So it was going on for quite a while that I'm not sleeping at night. I'm touching him, but I'm like, I don't want to hold him.
Wow.
And it was so bad.
Wow.
It was bad.
I'm
So
glad.
I feel like when people know about it or you see the signs, help that woman out.
Yeah.
Be empathetic, whatever way you can. If you see the signs, talk to her, listen to her, because I've read it so many times. I've seen it on the news that women will take their lives and their babies too, if it gets bad enough. So postpartum is the real thing.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think it's so important for us to educate ourselves. Your story is going to touch a lot of people. There's quite a few women out there right now who's going through it.
Yeah.
And some people may not even know what it is that they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was me. I had no idea. I'm just like,
wow.
Get it together. But I could not get it together.
No. And I like the fact that you're telling people to be empathetic, because people will pass judgment in a minute. If you're acting differently and something is off, people will jump to conclusions. They'll pass judgment, not knowing that it could be something that's going on inside of us that we can't necessarily control.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And in them moments, we don't need people to judge. We need people to actually listen, to actually take heed to what's going on in front of them. Because sometimes people's actions are them just calling out for help because they need it, but they don't know how to ask for help. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. We've touched on postpartum. Let's discuss depression. I know I've gone through it really bad, especially after I left home, and then I stopped because I was a part of this religion, and I stepped away when I left home. That was one of the darkest periods in my life, I would say. Well, I've had a few, but that was one of the darkest periods in my life, because I had absolutely no one to turn to except for my then boyfriend. And that was just too much pressure on one person, to be honest. But I don't remember a day that I was happy during that period. I cried a lot every single day. And then I was at a job where I was facing a lot of issues with the people in my job. Because in our first podcast, I discussed this one woman that that I had befriended, and then she was talking crap about me behind my back. That was at that particular job. So I was dealing with that, along with the fact that my family were not, I don't want to say they turned their back on me, but they didn't like the fact that I stepped away from religion. And especially my mother. Our relationship is better now, but at the time, our relationship was really strained. And that affected me so much, because I love mother-daughter relationships. But yeah, I couldn't have the relationship that I wanted with her. I had tried so hard reaching out to her and trying to invite her to dinner, and she didn't want to go. I was called every name in the book by people. I had people calling up my phone telling me that God is going to kill me. And they're not realizing that this is putting me deeper and deeper into a depression. Those unkind words, I'm already feeling bad about everything. I'm already questioning everything. But then I'm getting phone calls from people telling me, oh, God is going to kill you and Satan is after you and Satan is going to, and I'm just like, wow, I couldn't catch a break. And during that time, I had turned to food for comfort. Like that was the only thing that was making me feel better about myself. Oh my God, I'm about to cry.
Don't do it. Because you're past that. You're a better woman.
Let me
It's
just
okay.
let me gather myself. Like during that time, I had
Just pause.
during that time I had turned to food for comfort. So I had gained about 45 pounds. Yeah. This was it started back in like the end of 2014. And by the time 2016 came around, I had gained about 45 pounds. And it had just happened. And I felt even more depressed because like I didn't feel like myself anymore. So I'm just having all these things, my job, my parents, the religion, myself, turning to food for comfort. My relationship was going downhill. I just was not in a good space at all. And I was just always depressed. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to work. And those are signs of depression, like not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to do anything, not feeling motivated to do the things that you love to do in general. Um, I had started a YouTube channel back in 2016 and it was on a different channel and I couldn't even finish those videos because I didn't feel motivated. I just didn't. So yeah, that's my story on depression and how it's affected me. Thankfully, I came out of it, but it took a while. It wasn't easy. That was like years that had gone by that I was going through that. So like,
Did you have someone to help you with that? Like someone to
I didn't have anybody at the time. I didn't have a lot of friends. There's one, my best friend, I met her during this time and she did help me. She came along a little later after everything had happened and she did help me through it. I did seek out certain therapists, but they didn't help. The ones that I sought, they didn't help. And that goes back to my probably needing a Black therapist, you know. And it can be costly too. Therapy is not cheap. So, you know, I wasn't making a lot of money at the time to keep a good therapist going anyway. So yeah, it was tough because I barely had any friends. I had like one friend and that was it at the time.
And it's so important to have people available.
Yeah.
To listen to you, to see when you're hurt, to acknowledge it, to be empathetic.
Right.
Because sometimes that's all we need. All we need is for somebody to look and be like, because I know that's how I feel. I just want somebody to look at me and be like, you good? You okay? Because I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that. And I'm always a giver. I give. Like, you know, literally if I got it, you got it. Especially if you're somebody I love and you close to me, like you got it. And it's so important if you're a giver to have somebody putting back into you.
Yes.
Because if you don't, that well will run dry. Yes. And when it runs dry, it's hard to put that water back in. I can honestly say that my children have been my strength. I know people say it all the time, like, and it's not a cliche. Times where I felt my lowest, you know, where I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to even go outside. I don't want to put on no clothes. I don't care how I look. I think about my babies. And I'm like, I got to go to work because they got to eat. I got to go to work because I got to pay bills. I got to smile. Literally, I'm smiling for them because I don't want them to see me crying. I don't want them to see me sad. And they vibe off my energy. So they knowing, Mama, what's wrong? This ain't you.
Yeah.
So they have helped me get out of some dark times in my life simply because they're my babies.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
I mean, it's the truth, girl, because it's not even a man on this earth. I mean, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I pray, I meditate, I talk to him all the time. People probably think I'm crazy because I'll be in the car listening to my church music and I'll be in the
girl, listen.
Lord, it's you. And I'll be just driving and singing and crying at the same time. But that's a release for me because I'm knowing I'm singing at the top of my lungs and somebody listening to me. Yeah. I'm able to express myself. I'm able to cry without my baby seeing it. I'm able to scream out loud in this car. And I feel like I know my spirit tells me that he hears me. It may be different for others, but that's my personal,
That's absolutely beautiful.
Girl, don't you do it.
I'm trying. Don't you do it. Like I'm about to cry again.
You have to find ways to give this a break. Mm-hmm. Whether it's lighting a candle right before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Smelling some essential oils. Whether women, it's a bubble bath. Whether it's guys going out, with your dudes and talking man stuff. I don't know. I mean, if it's hanging out with girlfriends, sometimes if it's hanging out with yourself, watching a movie that you don't get to watching TV. Yeah. For me, sometimes I would stay up late at night because late at night is where my peace is. Mm-hmm. I have done all my housework. My baby's in the bed, and if I stay up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, it's Ariel's time.
Yeah.
Sad to say, sometimes I got to do that, but everything around me is quiet. I can hear my own thoughts. We need that.
We do.
Women, take out that time.
Yeah.
No matter what, even if it's running to the grocery store without your kids. I myself, I relish in that because I can, go get this food without grabbing extra, without forgetting something because somebody in my head.
Exactly. Yes.
So, and also protecting your peace.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot remind yourself of who you surround yourself around. Do not have people around you that will drain your energy. Do not have people that will make you feel bad about things that you shouldn't feel bad about. Do not have evil individuals around you with bad intentions because that's not good for your mental stability at all. You got to protect yourself and not just protect yourself physically, but that mental needs to be guarded at all times.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I definitely encourage people to seek therapy if they need to.
It's all right. It's okay to tell somebody you smacked somebody yesterday or you want to smack somebody. It's okay to tell somebody, let me tell you what I thought because therapists are there to listen. They get paid to do that.
Yeah.
And I know I done talked to our therapist. Yeah. And he probably like, this girl is crazy. By the time I get off that Zoom call. But to be honest, by the time I get off that call, he done laughed at me and everything. I done started crying, but I feel so much better.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Because it's somebody, he's not there to judge.
Right.
He's there to listen, give feedback.
Yes.
And he be telling me when I'm wrong. And sometimes I don't like it. But I'm like, I guess.
He's going to tell you. He does it to me all the time.
Yeah. And I'll be like, now, I don't like what you're saying, but okay.
But that's a part of us growing, and helping us on our journeys.
Yes.
To better mental health.
I hope you guys learned a lot today.
Yes.
Christina got a little emotional, but it's okay because it's what her heart needed. It's okay.
Yeah, I feel like I'm about to cry again. I'm trying to like sit here and hold it back right now. I would just let you take the reins right now.
Where's the drink? You need to sip.
I think I
There we go. Yeah, take a drink.
I needed that a while ago, actually.
Right.
But thank you all so much for watching. Tune in next time to our next podcast on Wine Women Life. Peace out.
Bye. And I had highlighted that the gaslighting part in our on our Instagram. Gaslighting, how to recognize and combat it. Gaslighting is a form of psychological and emotional abuse that involves manipulating another person into doubting or disbelieving their experiences, perceptions of reality, or even their sanity. When I read that, I had tears in my eyes because I've experienced that.
Me too. Yeah.
People will take your experiences and twist them into something about them. They will take your pain and make your pain seem less meaningful because it's not about them. And that's crazy.
It is.
Nobody's pain is better than the next pain in this world. No one. And if anybody going through a moment like that where you feel like this a make or break for me, especially when you used to being a strong person, and the person you call on, they're not there. Well, they're there physically. I didn't walk down memory lane somewhere, girl. I'm lost in the trees. Where did I go?
Oh, girl, my heart is my heart is heavy right now because we've gone through things, and then like imagine all the people in the world what they're going through. It's like mental health is real.
It is.
It's a real problem, and people just don't have an outlet.
People just need to acknowledge it. Even if you don't, like I said, if you don't know what to say to somebody, if you don't know how to support a person, just being there, just letting them know that I'm available for you.
Yes.
And just telling them, hey, whatever you need, that can mean so much to a person who's had their heart torn apart. And I mean, people don't realize it, but the world will be down on you.
Yeah.
And we combat so many forces. We combat the outside world. We combat things going on in our home. We combat things spiritually. In the midst of all that combating, we combat ourselves. It's a lot of fighting going on up here. And it's not just one person, too. It's everybody in this world. Yeah. You can't tell me that you don't have problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So acknowledge it. Be there for people. Let people heal. Yeah. Let people dance.
Yeah.
Don't judge.
Yes. I've had times where I've tried to vent to people, and they will either talk over me or not let me say what I need to get out. That's irritating. Don't do that. Just listen to people. Just listen. If they need to get it out, just shut up and listen to what they say. I don't care how it sounds or whatever, just listen. Sometimes people just need that.
Yeah, right.
Or a hug, or a card, a note, a letter, something.
I gotta shout my sister out because she's done that for me. She'll tell me like, hey, bro. Literally, that's how she said, bro, bring them kids down here, drop them off. I'm like, are you sure? Meanwhile, I got to tell them, are you sure? She like, bro, just come on. And that's what I need.
Yeah.
Like, And I'm all the way I'm driving. I'm like, y'all come on, put your shoes on. Y'all gonna go to my sister. And that's what I need. Other times, she know, sometimes I'll shut down. I can't talk. You know, I get quiet and you won't hear from me from a while. And it's not me being rude. It's not me being mean. I just need a moment. That's kind of a way that I kind of try to pull everything together. I got to shut down. And it's not even shutting down because I still got other stuff I got to do.
Right.
But it's just kind of me shutting myself off to people to maintain the little bit of energy that I have left. Yes. I do that often. She can cash at me, you know, her, and then a cash app will say, this is for some wine for today. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And I go spend it on some food for my kids, girl. I don't even get the liquor sometimes. I'm like, oh, Lisa, I ain't gotta cook, but
exactly.
Shoot, that's good for me too, because I don't have to cook.
Yes, absolutely. Oh wow, that's so sweet. I love that.
I know, right?
Yes. I hate that I got emotional. I didn't want to cry, but it happened. So.
And in the meantime, I'm over here like,
y'all about to see some ugly face. An ugly face.
Look, in the meantime, I'm looking at you like, don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact.
Right, drink some wine.
I'll cry with you.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next Wednesday on Wine, Women, Life.